Okay, so to start with, we've got our diced British beef. We've got half a kilo there. I'm going to be adding, and that's lean as well. You can see there's not much fat on that, so I won't really have to muck around with that very much. I'm going to use butternut squash because I absolutely love it. Mushrooms, I've got this sorry looking courgette in the fridge, which I'm just going to add to it, and a little bit of carrot. I also have these char grilled peppers. I'm just going to add a few of those just for flavour in the initial frying off. So I'm going to fry off the onion, garlic, the peppers, mushrooms to start with, and the courgette, and then I'll add the vegetables and the wet ingredients. So I have run out of my beloved beef stock cubes, which I would have used today because they're really great flavour and value for money. Today I'm going to use Bovril instead, and I'm going to use Worcester sauce, thyme, a little bit of nutmeg. I always put salt and pepper in all of my dishes, and I'll chuck 2 bay leaves in. These are actually fresh from my friend's tree, so when they're dried I think they're a little bit more flavoursome, so hopefully they'll be fine. So it's very straightforward. We're going to put in the spices with the garlic and onion and the vegetables, fry them off a little bit. I'm not going to add the butternut squash and the carrot until later on. And the beef, believe it or not, I'm actually not going to fry it off. I find that it's more tender when you put it in raw. And because it's going to be full of liquid and boiling very quickly, there's no risk of any bacteria and what have you causing any problems. And this has actually been endorsed by our good friend Jamie Oliver. He cooks sometimes with cooked beef that he's seared or without. So that's the way I'm going to do it because I think it's more tender. So I will chop it all up. Obviously we've got some tomato puree there, which I forgot. Sorry about that. So I'm going to chop it all up and I'll see you in a minute. Bye. Hello. Okay. I'm trying to work out how to film and cook at the same time because it's not very natural. I mean, you look at these YouTube videos of people cooking and they're trying to handle the camera and stuff. It's very difficult, so sorry about that. Right, I'm frying off the vegetables. So what I've got in there is garlic, onion, 1 courgette because I needed to use it up, a handful of mushrooms, and some sliced frozen peppers, which were actually char grilled, because I just like giving things a little bit of extra flavour if you can, and obviously if you add vegetables even better. Right, so I haven't put any seasoning in yet. I'm going to turn it down a little bit so it's just a moderate heat, or low heat actually. Right, pepper, salt, thyme. I do have fresh thyme on the windowsill, but I've been really useless at taking the sticks off. So that's probably a good heaped teaspoon of thyme there. Nutmeg, because that's what I read in one of the recipes, literally like a couple of shakes. Lea and Perrins, Worcester, that's really good anyway for flavour. A few glugs of that. And let me give that a bit of a stir. It's going to bring a lot of flavour to the food, and obviously the juices that the meat sits in, it will then absorb all the flavour at that point. As I said before, I find if I sear the beef before, it actually toughens it up if anything. Right, so I'm just going to add some tomato puree. The English mustard that I have on the bench here is actually because I'm not putting potatoes in this. I'm going to serve the dinner. I'm going to sneeze now. I'm going to serve the dinner with mustard mash. So English mustard is like half a sin for a teaspoon. Right, give that a good stir. Now Bovril. A really lovely big like tablespoon of this. Let it melt into the dish. And my replacement stock cube, which I think is probably chicken, but you know what? It would be better to have the beef stock. It's just that I don't have any. And I usually don't do that. Flick it all over the place. I usually don't mix it with the water and add it in, because I want to add the water later when I've got my beef and everything in the casserole dish, so it can so I can see how much water I'm putting in. I don't want to put too much water in. You can add water later. So that's looking really quite rich and yummy. Like I said, you could actually make it a beef bourguignon and put red wine in there if you wanted to. Right, let me show you. So it's looking quite rich at the moment. Now I have chopped up the butternut squash, well, half of one, and 2 carrots. So you can see I've just used the top half of that. I'm going to mix all of this up, and then I'm going to put it all in the casserole dish. And then once it's in the casserole dish, when I have a bit more space in the pot, I'm actually going to put the meat in, stir it around, and then I'll put the water in just to like almost cover it. Okay, see you soon. Bye. Hello. So now I have got the ingredients in the slow cooker, the vegetables and everything. I'm about to pour in the meat and then pour in some water, and that's it, and then we'll let it cook. So let me just turn this around. Okay, so that has all of the vegetables, the pumpkin and the carrots in there with all the spices and the sauces that we just talked through. There's the meat there. So I'm just going to tip this in. And there's my baby waking up. You can hear. Right, so as I said, it's absolutely fine to put it in raw. No problem whatsoever, because it's going to be all very hot very soon. And actually, when you think about it, when you cook steak, etc., you cook it, you cook it very quickly. It goes from raw, and of course you can eat steak tartare, which is raw, so it's not going to hurt anyone, that's for sure. Yum. And there's some lovely chunky bits of meat in there and vegetables, and it just looks great. So I haven't needed to trim the meat, and I haven't even touched the meat, which is great because it was lean. Right, so that's all mixed in. What I'm going to do is pour some water in there until it looks like it's near the surface, because obviously water will evaporate. And so I will check that in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm going to put it on the high setting for about 2 hours. It's now about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'll go from there. But it's looking really good. And obviously tonight when I go to serve it, I'm going to have mashed potatoes with a bit of mustard in it. Put a bit more water in. Mashed potato with a bit of mustard in it, and it's going to be really yummy. And of course you could add green beans if you wanted to. You could add broccoli on the side, anything like that, but it's got lots of vegetables in there. So thanks for watching, and I'll show you the end result later today. Bye bye.